Mic check, mic check. 1 2 1 2. Mic check. The levels is looking good. I'm feeling even better. Welcome everybody back to another episode of Channel 7 Podcast. This is season 6. My name is Seven, and today we are in conversation with my fellow Georgia State dropout, artist and producer DvDx. Man, how you doing? How you feeling?
Man,
Thank you for coming on the show, bro.
I appreciate you for having me.
Absolutely, man. Given the circumstances, I feel like we're doing pretty well for ourselves to be Georgia State dropouts.
Yeah.
Like I think we made the right decision.
Nah, facts. There's some points where I'm like, did I like? But all in all, I definitely feel like I made the right decision because I wouldn't be here or doing the things that I'm doing had I not done that.
Absolutely, man. DvDx is responsible for Kenny Mason, Jeleel, Danny Novello, so many of your favorites. How has the ascension been since meeting these people, man, and like creating this new type of sound?
Man, it's been a crazy journey, honestly. Like crazy, unpredictable. Like I couldn't even have like guessed that I would be, working with somebody like Jeleel, especially at the time that I caught him.
Word.
Like he wasn't really like popping like at all just yet.
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere, just fucking skyrocketed.
Yeah. I met him at South by Southwest earlier this year, and he's the fucking sweetest, nicest guy ever. Like he's buff as shit, and rage monster like on the internet, but like in real life, he's so like
nicest guy ever.
Like namaste, like for real. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's funny, but today we're here to talk about you and Jubilee. Y'all's collaborative album of Sensory Overload.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing title. I love that fucking title because I feel like in today's current age, like it's too much shit.
Bruh.
Like it's so much to think about, digest, process. Like it literally is an overload of information. Mm-hmm. Is that why you named the title that?
Yeah, like I mean, I came up with the idea for it actually at a concert. Cause I was just like, yo, there's so many lights and sounds. Yeah. And it was just like this kind of sensory overload. And I was like, wait, this would be a good title for that project I'm working on.
Word.
So but yeah, and it really fit in really well with, how I always feel, It's like, and just kind of the messages that were being conveyed in the songs also.
Yeah.
And I think the skits came a little bit later.
I love those skits, bro. Like skits are so hard to execute well, but when they're done well, they should be appreciated, and you really did that shit. Like the placebo skit was fucking perfect. That shit was fucking perfect.
That was so fun to make.
It sounded like it was fun. That shit is fun. Like the title Sensory Overload resonates with me so much even currently right now because like I oftentimes like, well, for me, I've always been like that weird ass nigga who likes to sit in the dark, lay on the floor, like that's been me. And especially now, like how we saying, like in today's time, this digital era where there's just so much shit. Like I take technology fast.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Where I just like clock out of the world for at least an hour, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes. And I just literally just like sit in silence. I sit in nature. Have you heard of grounding?
I've heard of it. Yeah, it's like when you like walk in the grass barefoot.
Yeah. But I just found out about that shit like a couple months ago, and I was like, oh, this is really fucking cool. And I really felt like the electrons leave my body and like really like center myself. You know what I'm saying?
Nah.
And
I gotta try that.
Nah, for sure, do that.
I remember as a kid though, I always got spooked by like walking outside barefoot because I think I was like on the Discovery Channel.
Yeah.
And they were talking about like in Africa, like the little ankle worms that come out because it came out of it came from like kids just walking around barefoot, and I was like, oh man, I don't want to get the ankle worms, even though that's in Africa,
Yeah.
But nah, I definitely need to try it. I've just been hesitant since then.
I was just being fake bougie. like I was just like, I'm not putting my bare feet on the ground. Like that's nasty.
Yeah.
But I got out of that shit. But nah, man, I really think that was the perfect album title. You know what I'm saying? And you originally started off as a recording artist, not a producer.
Yeah.
What made you enter the production realm, and do you get upset when people categorize you as one and not the other, when you are
Um,
primarily,
Nah, not at all. Like, there's honestly more than anything, like people know me as a producer, and
right.
I'm still kind of just like,
That's how I know you,
yeah,
like as DvDx, the producer,
yeah. So I'm still kind of just like fighting to like really like get people to understand that I am an artist as well.
Right.
But I'm not. It's not like I'm leaving producing alone.
Yeah.
I'm still producing for people, and so I am both. And it just really depends on what people know me as. But back to like the first question, how I got into producing,
Yeah.
I actually, just long story short, just needed some beats, and I think I found a beat on the internet, and I emailed the guy. This is like way back, like a long time ago, like when I was in high school.
Yeah.
I emailed the dude. I was like, "Hey, can I use this beat to just like rap on?" And he was like, yeah, what's your budget? And I'm just like, budget?
Shit, nigga, Daniel,
I'm 14. Like, I don't have a budget.
Yeah.
It'll probably be like $20, but I know that wouldn't suffice.
Nothing, yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, that really inspired me to, get into
I hate
producing.
the budget question. Nigga, just tell me how much it is. Like, fuck out of here.
Exactly.
I hate budgets.
Yeah. Setting your price is really important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you have a very extensive production catalog as well. And do you feel like people put respect on your name?
Man,
oh, this nigga folded his arms.
Nah.
He's ready. He was waiting for this one.
Nah, it's just the game is so oversaturated,
Yeah.
It's and I'm such a small like speck in the big like grand scheme of things.
Course,
so for me, the people that know, they know, and I feel like I get enough respect from the people that are aware of who I am. But there could always be more.
You can have a little bit more. Yeah. Just a little bit more. Yeah, because I didn't even know that your production catalog and credits was so deep until preparation for this interview. And I was like, oh shit, this nigga was here. Like, damn. Like, like most people know you, of course, through Kenny. You know what I'm saying? But like I said in the beginning of the show, like, you're part of Jaleel's rise, your own rise. Let's not take that away as well. You feel me? Daniel, like, and I'm sure I'm missing even more people, So like that should be saluted for real.
Thank you.
Absolutely. But going back to the album, you speak about a consistent theme of it being you versus you. In what ways?
Man, so a lot of times it's really just whenever I'm, feel like kind of a roadblock or an obstacle, most of the time it's not even really there. It's just me in my head, and I definitely catch myself in my head a lot just because, I don't know, it's I tend to worry, I want things to go the way that I want things to go, or I try to predict the future, or try to be a real control freak about everything in life, just because, uncertainty just, the threat of uncertainty can just do a number in your head. And but ultimately that is just me,
Right.
And so I think it's simplified as me versus me, but honestly, like, I've been reading a lot of like self-help books and stuff, and the voices in your head aren't actually you. They're just there. They don't really represent your morals or your beliefs or what you actually want. It's just literally just thoughts and things just popping into your head.
So would they be classified as like manifested projections from other people, maybe?
Yeah, it's just, a collection of things that you've heard or things that you may have seen, and that's where like, social media and all of that stuff comes in, and just like social media period, also just everything. It really just everything is stored into here, and then just kind of just plays back while that's even when it's gone. So you have to really understand, sit back, and out of those thoughts, you have to actually sit and think, okay, which of these thoughts do I actually identify with, you know, and not just was this just something that I heard, or it's just like an outside, you know, just like voice or, you know, source trying to make me feel a certain kind of way.
Yeah, so it's almost like boundaries in a
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, boundaries within your own
Yeah,
self.
yeah, boundaries within yourself. You
Yeah.
feel me? So with like I guess you newly learning this now?
Yeah, nah, I think the first time I really started thinking about like figuring this out was back in like 2017.
Mm.
I read this book called You Are a Badass.
Hmm.
That was
I
like
think I've seen that book before.
yeah, that's a really good book. That was like my first like self-help kind of book.
Yeah.
And I think it was a really good introduction because the author, she really talks to you in a very human way.
Yeah.
It's not like condescending or even really like educational, like trying to be prestige, but it's very just like, hey, I fucked up.
Right.
You know, but
we all fuck up.
Yeah, we all fuck up. We all have these thoughts, but you know, you just gotta really put that to the side and, you know, do what you gotta do for the shit that you want.
Right,
you know,
right.
and so that was my first introduction, but that kind of stuff you kind of gotta keep refreshing your mind. So I've been reading more and more books on and off. Like last year I finished Be Here Now. And that kind of also inspired my EP last year, The Irreplaceable Now.
Okay.
And then after that, I was like, okay, let me read another Now book, which is Be Here Now, or
So this
not
is
Be
like
Here Now,
it's
but
like a Now series.
yeah, or no, these are different authors. But
Okay.
the Power Now
Gotcha.
by Eckhart Tolle.
I heard of that one.
Yeah, and that one was really really good. And then
oh, that's the nigga that's
yeah, on the Kendrick
album.
album.
Yeah.
And like I started reading it before the Kendrick album came out, and so and now I'm reading Think Like a Monk.
Interesting.
So, yeah, that's like I'm really liking it so far. But
I got a book suggestion. I got 2 book suggestions for you. Well, really 3.
Okay.
The Alchemist.
I've read that. Yeah.
Amazing
great.
book. Amazing book. The Alchemist. Boundaries and Self-Relationships. I don't know the author off the top of my head.
Okay.
But you know, it's a white cover. It's looks like an old Victorian art style, like illustration on the cover, but it's called Boundaries and Self-Relationships though.
Okay.
Amazing book. I read it the top of last year. No, the top of this year. Damn, 2020's been a long year. Fuck.
Yeah.
God damn, I read it at the top of this year and it completely changed like a lot of things in my life. It was a great, great book. And then Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck.
I started that book. I didn't finish it.
You should finish it.
Okay.
You should finish it for sure. It's a great book. It kind of gets a little redundant, a little repetitive, but it is a really good book as far as like really, I would say, digesting and analyzing emotion. You know, it talks a lot about how emotions should be felt and are good, but they cannot be a guidepost for your actions. You know what I'm saying? And that, like, you know, a lot of times people use their emotions as like, oh, because I feel this way, like that means it's real and everything is real because I feel it, especially now in today's age.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Where it's like everything is validated because you feel it.
Yeah.
No, the fuck it's not. I'm of that party, that group, where your emotions are not valid just because you feel it. I'm of that group. You know what I'm saying? And emotions really are just a compass, essentially. It's kind of what they talk about in the book. How emotions are just a compass to let you know whether something is beneficial for you or not. And then even then, it can still be tricking you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it kind of just really like makes you just look at your feelings and emotions differently. You feel me? But yeah, I recommend those 3 books.
Bet.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Now I'm gonna definitely have to get that second one from you like after this.
The Boundaries and Relationships.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was a great book. That shit was so good. That shit was so good. But is your business acumen one of the biggest like secret surprises about you that most people don't know about?
I guess, what do you mean by that?
through my research, of
Okay.
course, I just saw what's the word? A silhouette, maybe. A silhouette of you creating, business structure, from your production company, to you wanting to open up a music venue.
Oh man, yeah.
Do you still want to do that?
I think that would be really cool. But yeah, I said that a while ago. Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, now that would be really cool still. Yeah, dang, you just reminded me of that. Yeah, but that would be crazy. But I would say like I definitely try to do as much as I can with like business and making sure that's, all taken care of, mostly out of necessity because,
Of course.
like I told you earlier before we started, like, pretty much doing this all by myself right now. But so you kind of you're forced to like, really get all your business in order.
Yeah.
And I try to like look like just be prepared for any type of situation that can come up. So like I guess by default, just I do like pay attention, a good bit of attention to how I run my business.
Or so how's it? I would say grown since like your journey of growth from when you first got into the real proverbial music industry, to like now, like what's some of the lessons, some of the failures that where you was like, oh, I need to get my shit together. You know what I'm saying?
Man, dang, that's a loaded question. Let's see. Well, I think really understanding, situations that benefit me and situations that don't.
What do you mean by that?
Like
What do you mean by that?
Yeah. So like sometimes you might be doing something just because it's an option and not necessarily because it's the best thing for you. And I know that happens with me a lot just from just trying to stay busy, and making sure that I'm not really dull or that I like always have something to do, even though that's not really the best thing or the best mindset to have a lot of the time. Because honestly, from the best things that have like progressed my career the most is when I just focus on one thing at a time. So like I think when I first like met Daniel, I think that was the first time I really took an artist, and that was the only artist I was working on at the time.
So you met Daniel before you met Kenny?
No, I met Kenny I met Kenny before Daniel.
Okay.
But when I first met Kenny, I was still all over the place.
Got you.
So yeah, but when I started working with Daniel, that was my first time really focusing in, and that really, I think I learned a lot during that process. And that was when we started meeting a lot of different people. And when you're just focused on one thing, it allows you a lot of headspace to really focus in on that thing, and you get better ideas, and you're also more motivated to work on it just because you're not drained by a bunch of other things that are just loaded with uncertainty.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So you are currently an independent artist, producer, entity, brand, right?
Yep.
Would you ever sign a pub deal with you? Let me elaborate that question before you answer. With you being a passenger to your friends being in the proverbial music industry, and like you seeing the things that it takes and the things that happen when you get signed and all that shit, right? Would you yourself as a producer artist sign a deal, or do you like this wave of independence of fully owning?
No, it would have to the stars would really have to align, and it would really have to make a lot of sense. Like I would definitely want to have some kind of leverage.
Of course.
I wouldn't want to go in there with like 20 monthly listeners. Not that I don't have 20 monthly listeners, but like 20 monthly listeners, and they're like, okay, we can give you whatever we want to give you, and we'll take all these percentages because you don't have any like any leverage. Also, I would have to really actually like the team too. I would and really,
these are all things that you've learned from like watching like Kenny and Jeleel and Daniel and everyone else.
You definitely have to like have a team that truly believes in you and your vision, and shares the same vision that you have, or it'll just kind of get kind of convoluted, and it'll cause a lot of conflict.
Yeah.
And ultimately it'll just, you'll just be locked into a marriage with somebody that you don't really feel like you should be with, and
Like,
everything just becomes stagnant.
Yeah.
Or
sure.
just a lot of resentment. But and just altogether not really progressive.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, those are main two. Like, gotta have leverage and gotta have the team that really like believes in you, and also just gotta be a good team too. Like somebody that
Good
can
help
actually,
is hard to come by, bro.
yeah, for sure. Like,
Shit.
just something that some people that can actually like
Do
move the
something.
needle.
Yeah,
And not
for
just
sure.
like actually not just believe in you. I mean, of course they believe in you, but somebody that can like actually
Get some stuff done.
take me to the next level, and it'll make some sense.
Yeah, for sure.
You know.
What do you, or what did you, whatever tense is correct here, want sensory overload to accomplish? Like, because it's a very layered album. You know what I'm saying? And like, I took away what I took away from it, as far as like, I guess the writing on the wall, like too much technology, nigga, type shit. But like, with you being the mastermind behind it, like what is that for you?
On the surface, I kind of want it to be a bait and switch. So like the first single I dropped was Medicine.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like a party drinking song, but it's kind of layered because like right after that you got like the Placebo.
Yeah,
and then
right.
and also like in the track list right before it is The Motions, and I look at that sequence as a cause and effect.
Okay.
So in the song, it's all the motions is about me like going through like the motions.
Yeah.
But
the you versus you elements.
and just being in my head and just having all this anxiety and worry and just not being at ease or at peace, just constant unease. And and I say like before, like while I drown in these potions again, and that's just like alluding to like what precedes it is like medicine. So like that's, I think I wanted it to be like sonically, I think these are songs that you could play like out in public.
Man, I love how you revamped this new Atlanta, old Atlanta, futuristic type of swag bounce with today's time. That shit was so fly, because like it was an era in Atlanta when
For
that
sure.
was the sound.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of stopped. So I love that you was like, hey, let's go back to this real quick.
Yeah, because I see like I kind of see the similarities in what people were already doing, like especially with like the new like hyper poppy sounds.
Yeah.
And like there's like hints of the things that were the elements that were in that like futuristic era of Atlanta rap. And they're starting to like unintentionally peek through like with like hyper poppy like rap sounds and stuff. And so I was just like, why don't I just fully bridge the gap and really just take this era of Atlanta that I grew up on and love so much, and just kind of represent it to people who may not be as familiar with it.
Yeah. I love that. Last question.
Okay.
So Chris Brown is actually your inspirational beginning to music and shit.
Man, yeah.
But you've always been public about Gambino and his influence on you.
Yeah.
So who's the real beginning?
Man, okay. So they come in like different waves. So
who's the real study guide?
Oh man, real study guide is kind of like, so it kind of evolves. I'll give you like a little timeline.
Okay.
So I will say when I was really, really little, Chris Brown like first came out and he was like dancing and performing and singing, and I was like, oh man, like he's cool as shit. Like
Right.
I wanna do this. And I remember in elementary school I performed Run It at the talent show. And I came in third place.
Oh, word.
So but nah, that was like, I was like, yeah man, like I wanna be like this guy. So that was the really the catalyst for me, deciding, I want to like make music. And so then like fast forward, just working on music long, like keep on going. And then after that, like, years and years pass and Gambino comes out. And at first I didn't like Gambino.
Really?
Like when I first heard Freaks and Geeks, I was like, oh man, this is like, I don't like the way he's like, I don't like how nerdy he sounds.
Yeah.
But after a while I was just like, nah, this is cool. I'm tripping. Yeah. And so by the time like Camp came out, I was like fully on board.
Word. Okay.
And so I loved Camp. I went to like his concert like at the Tabernacle at the time, and that was really, really crazy. And just seeing, how he just moves his art through different mediums kind of like effortlessly, even how he mostly like how he did on Because of the Internet. That was crazy. Like
for sure.
That's the catalyst for really like any concept album to me, because of just how many different elements there were to it.
I gotta revisit that.
That was like that. Like there would be no sensory overload without Because of the Internet.
Of course.
For sure. So so like that, like he was really like a big inspiration. And then like after a while, it keeps on, changing. Like I would, attribute a lot of my like production like influence to FKI. Yeah, like
interesting.
Yeah, like cuz when they made like Make It Rain, I was like I was just like, dang, this beat is hard.
Yeah.
And then I like really dove into their stuff, and just like of course they did like a lot of stuff for the Travis Porter, like Bring It Back, and they did, what else? They did A Ladies, but then they
all
did
of our twerk anthems in the South.
Exactly. Yeah, and so but like the way they like really first like programmed his drums, like that kind of bounce, it just really made me like, dang, like if somebody's not nodding their head to the beat, it's not going.
Because music is all about movement and feeling.
Exactly.
And as long as you make someone feel something, you won.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter really what it is, whatever the feeling is. If you made someone feel something, you won. You did your job.
And then like 3 Stacks.
Of course.
3 Stacks, like, and then more so like I will say like 3 Stacks production, because that really gets
underrated.
Slept on as fuck.
Like my favorite thing from nigga,
man, don't even get me started,
nigga.
Bruh.
You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, we on the same way for sure. Those are some good inspirational pulls, but that makes sense as to what type of artist and producer you are, because you are so just eclectic is the best word I can describe. But I mean, maybe universal would be the better word. Maybe.
I appreciate it.
You feel me?
Yeah.
So
I will add in like Max Martin too. He's like probably the most successful producer of all time. Like,
really?
Yeah. Like his hits, insane. Like he's had #1 hits from the 90s to like now, like producing. Like I think he's at maybe like, he might be at 30 #1 hits at this point.
Sheesh.
But yeah, and then like maybe 100 top 10 hits. He's ridiculous. Like he did like Hit Me Baby One More Time for Britney Spears.
Oh wow.
And he also did Blinding Lights for The Weeknd. Like it, like his run is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So like I definitely look up to him, just as far as like just how he has that shit boiled down to a science. For real.
For sure. Yeah. I'm all out of questions. Thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for gracing us with your presence.
Oh, of course.
Sensory Overload out now, guys. Amazing Atlanta project. I think it's really restoring the feeling.
Hey,
for sure.
Thank you.
Love. This week on the Underground, we have DvDx with Superfuturistic Swag. Also produced by Jubilee, featuring Jelani Imani.
Yes.
Absolutely, man. One of my favorites from the album. Channel 7 podcast, The Underground. DvDx. You know the vibes.
Channel 7.